Picks up the mouse in my chair and everything.
Why are the Democrats so afraid of you?
I don't know, Senator. You'd have to ask them.
Well, I tell you what I think, and listening to their questions and your responses, which we appreciate, they know that you're going to go in and you're going to clean up that political cabal that has been over there for years. You are going to reposition the FBI to its core mission. You stated that earlier in this hearing, and there will be no more political persecutions and no more two tiers of justice. And they have liked having two tiers of justice. They have enjoyed it, and it has helped them. They think in their political mission, they've enjoyed targeting Catholics. They've enjoyed targeting parents. But the American people have said they want no more of that. And our colleagues know you're going to clean it up. I want to talk to you about the Epstein case. I have worked on this for years, trying to get those records of who flew on Epstein's plane and who helped him build this international human trafficking, sex trafficking ring. Now, earlier I urged then Chairman Durbin to subpoena those records, and I ended up being blocked by Senator Durbin and Christopher Wray. They stonewalled on this, and I know that breaking up these trafficking rings is important to President Trump. So will you work with me on this issue so we know who worked with Jeffrey Epstein in building these sex trafficking rings?
Absolutely, Senator. Child sex trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director, to make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened in the past and how we are going to countermand missing children and exploited children.
You are an expert in constitutional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. In your testimony, your written testimony, which was provided to us late last night, it says that, quote, and this is your writing, no government official ever threatened any social media platform with adverse action if a platform declined to moderate content flagged by the official, or if a platform decided not to take an official's suggestions. Do you stand by your testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Now, a few minutes ago, just prior, you said that members of the legislative branch don't qualify for this particular statement, despite the fact that you said no government official ever. Does a representative in Congress constitute a government official?
Well, let me clarify my testimony from earlier. I don't think that legislative proposals that were brought by Republicans or Democrats constitute threats against social media platforms. That's true whether with respect to Section 230 reform. It's true with respect to antitrust enforcement.
So that would then lead us to the natural inclination to believe that you're talking about the executive branch, correct? Being government officials. So government officials like the Deputy Assistant to the President and Director of Digital Strategy like Robert Flattery, or the White House Senior Advisor like Andrew Slavitt, or the NSC staffer Katie Colas, or the Deputy Assistant to the President, or the White House Digital Director, or the Press Secretary for the First Lady, or the NSC Director for Counterterrorism, the Chief of Staff for the Office of Digital Strategy, the Director of Strategic Communication and Engagement, the White House Associate Counsel, Associate Director for Communications, the Deputy Director of Digital Strategy, and the Strategic Director of Digital Communications. Those are government officials, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and what's so interesting is that all of these members of the executive branch, all of them have communications, thousands of emails between them and Twitter and Meta officials where they demand that posts be taken down and censored. I'll give you a couple of examples, and then we'll see if you still feel so strongly about your words. January 23rd, 3 days after the inauguration, at 1:04 a.m., Clark Humphrey of the White House emails Twitter and says, "We're flagging this post for you. Hey folks, wanted to flag this tweet, wondering if we can get moving on the process to have it taken down, ... ASAP. Then, on February 7th, an email exchange took place between Twitter and White House Deputy Assistant to the President and Director of Digital Strategy, Rob Flattery, and asked for the steps that he could take to, quote, streamline the process for the White House's demands for Twitter censorship. Then 2 days later, on February 9th, 2021, he follows up again with Facebook with a more aggressive demand for more information, along with an accusation that would be repeated many times in the future, that Facebook was failing to censor speech on its platform, and it was causing, quote, political violence. Fast forward, you have March 15th, White House senior advisor then made an ominous statement threatening unspecified executive action against Facebook in retaliation for Facebook's perceived lack of cooperation with the White House's list of demands that have been documented and will be inserted into the record for this hearing on censorship of, quote, borderline content. The line that I think is particularly troubling is saying, internally, we have been considering our options on what to do about it. Do you consider that to be non-threatening?
I'm not familiar with the particular documents that you're referring to.
I just read you multiple examples.
Yes, and so I don't think that emphatic expressions of their concerns about the problem of misinformation is a threat. I don't.
So when President Biden says that social media companies are killing people, and then there is a direct line from the White House to the social media companies demanding posts be removed, going so far as to say there has to be a quick and devastating takedown, a published takedown, that is not a threat?
I don't believe so.
Wow.
I also don't believe it was a threat when President Trump made comments about social media.
I'm so glad we have this on the record. Again, my apologies to you, sir, for what you've had to endure here today, but with that, I yield back.
So now we all know, and it is a verified fact, that very high-level members in the Democrat Party and very well-connected Democrats colluded with the people who used to run Twitter in order to censor and to take down information that made them look bad. Okay, we all know that these are actual verifiable facts. The most egregious example of which was the Twitter takedown of the Hunter Biden laptop story that was published by the New York Post, which obviously ended up being 100% corroborated by multiple sources at the end of the day. But at the very beginning, when that stuff was coming up about 6 weeks before an election, the Twitter execs decided to collude with their friends in the Democrat Party in order to get that taken down. So we all know
citizen,
that these
here
things
is your daily update. All right, folks, today's Doge news is absolutely crazy. We've got some drama, and this story comes straight to us from the Gateway Pundit. And according to the latest report, the Trump administration just put 2 USAID security leaders on leave after they tried to block Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency from accessing classified documents. Here's what went down. John Voorhees and Brian McGill, 2 top security officials at USAID, and that is the U.S. Agency for International Development, the agency that sent $20 million to Iraq so they could have a version of Iraqi Sesame Street. That was in the 2024 Festivus report. They refused to hand over classified materials to the Doge team, claiming they didn't have proper security clearance. But instead of a slap on the wrist, Voorhees and McGill got placed on administrative leave, and Doge got their hands on the documents. So exactly what are they trying to hide? That's the $64 billion question. I just can't wait to see what the team over at Doge comes up with. Now, this isn't just about one agency. Doge has been digging through the entire federal government looking for wasteful spending and corruption, and first it was the Treasury auto payments, now it's USAID. Their website has been shut down and their Twitter account has been nuked. So if you're wondering why government officials are resigning left and right, Doge may be the reason why. And thanks again to the Gateway Pundit for breaking the story. If you think this is wild,
Get 'em. Get 'em.